Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of AfterBuzz TV's GH Reports Dirty Deeds. And yes, they are done dirt cheap. And since I did one of my least favorite characters, Sunny Corinthos, last time, I thought I'd be fair and give my girl Ava Jerome a bit of her Dirty Deeds list. Alright, and of course, Ava's relatively new to the canvas, so obviously her list is a little bit shorter than Sunny's, but Ava has been a very, very bad girl. And of course, before she was on GH, her pre-GH crimes, if you will, she accepted money from Madeline Reeves, as you know, as Nina Clay's mother, to sleep with Silas Clay. And of course, this really didn't turn out all that bad, except for the production of Kiki, but we'll get to that later. But Ava really did love Silas. But I guess we need to talk about her crimes instead of her love. But also, Ava came onto the scene as operating an illegal gambling ring and knowingly lured Morgan Corinthos into a huge gambling debt, and a whole lot more. But again, we'll get to that later. And Ava's made a few hits and misses in her time. Of course, she did try to shoot Franco Baldwin, but hit Olivia Falconeri instead and put her in the hospital, which thus creating Sunny Corinthos as her enemy. But not before she shot and killed Sunny's then girlfriend, Connie Falconeri, but we were all saved from a long list of DID storylines thanks to that. So, is that really a crime? Kelly Sullivan's doing a lot better on Y&R. And of course, Ava did order a hit out on her own man, or should I say Julian's man, because Carlos was never really on the Ava train, but she put a hit out on him to try and to frame him for AJ's murder, which we'll get to that a little bit, because Ava is the one who was being choked at the time of which Sunny shot AJ and thus helped him cover it up. And not only did she help cover up that crime, but when AJ actually lived through the shooting initially, she tried to smother him in the hospital. And of course, her last hit was what gave us Jake Doe. She ran over a escaping Jason Morgan and let Jordan take the fall, and thus living a 7 months or longer Jason, who is he, like saga. And that's a crime in itself, because that took forever. But of course, Ava's had a few misdemeanors. Accessory to murder after she helped Julian dispose of Vince, who was a henchman for the Jerome organization at the time, and she just kicked him in the harbor without even scuffing her heels. And of course, you know, as we say, she did help Sunny cover up AJ's murder, which then led to the most awful, awkward mausoleum sex scene ever, and resulted in Avery. And that's a crime in itself, right? Except that little girl is cute. But of course, Ava was a part of the great prison escape of Port Charles, involving Sunny, Julian, Franco, et al. And of course, she did escape, but only to be shot by Carlos Rivera and into the harbor. But of course, we all know she lived through that. But without masquerading through town as Denise DiMuccio, which that wig and that accent, whatever, was a crime in itself that we had to deal with way too long. Speaking of Morgan, I gave him his own category because let's face it, that's just gross. Morgan was at the time that they first slept together, her daughter's husband, which actually, I believe Morgan's a little bit younger than Kiki, 2 years? And that's gross in itself. I mean, even though they did have chemistry, the fact that they just kept it going, even with Denise DiMuccio, I'm just hoping that they've cut that tie forever. Because mamas and daughters don't need to be sharing boys. And speaking of daughters, we have Kiki. She gets her own category as well, because as most of us, feel at the GH report, and I know fans are as well, we're just never been that pleased with the Kiki character. Even when Kristen Alderson played her, but I'm thinking Haley Aaron might be able to save this character. But to me, Ava's biggest crime was giving birth to this useless character. And I think that about wraps it up. See, I told you Ava's not as bad as Sunny. That was half the time in this episode. But I digress. The GH Report is, of course, every 5:30 or every Sunday at 5:30 PST. Please continue to watch us and like our page on Facebook.